Okay, so let's head into the manga section.
Alright, well, unfortunately for you fans of the podcast, there was no One Piece chapter to review this week. So we're just gonna...
Oh,
Aww. So we're gonna roll on into Toriko.
yeah.
So, would you like to start?
Toriko this week? Yeah, why not? So I guess we could start at the beginning where they keep talking about like the underground and like the hidden passage, and essentially we start to learn about this flower, the Sandoriko, which
You mean the
Mario
piranha,
Brothers, yeah,
the Mario Brothers piranha plant?
yeah. The piranha. I was thinking the same thing, and it was interesting because we saw like a portion of that flower a couple chapters ago, and
It was the previous chapter when we saw the big friggin' ape and everyone got scared.
I thought that was
No.
2 chapters ago, because the last chapter was they were already underground and they saw.
Oh yeah, so sorry, two
Kaka.
chapters ago. You're right, 2 chapters ago, but still the fact that
Yeah,
it wasn't the big freaking ape that was scaring them, it was this
yeah, it
friggin'
was the flower.
Super Mario flower.
Yes.
So, just remember, people, do not underestimate Mario and Luigi ever again.
No. Yeah.
Now we know why they're plumbers.
Yeah, we see more of the environment, and it all looks awesome as usual. Like giant ants, like giant acorns.
That friggin' was it Sapphire Ant
Yeah.
bolted. That it just bolted.
Yeah.
Saw that plant. I thought that was hilarious. It was just like, yeah, I'm gonna attack you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the piranha plant.
And of course, Toriko and them get sprayed by.
Oh no, because Sunny was such an idiot. He was like, okay, don't bother this plant because if you do, the pollen will kill you. Touch. Like, come on, Sunny. Really, out of everyone, I would expected Zebra to do that, not you.
Exactly.
Especially since it looks gross.
Yeah.
Especially by Sunny standard.
True.
Like by Sunny standard, it's gross. So why would you even go as far as to touch it? But he did, and he nearly killed everyone.
Yep.
Retard.
Luckily for them, Kaka.
Kaka was there.
Yeah, he had the
thank
cucumber.
God. Thank God that Kaka was there. All right.
Yeah. So
anyway, let's continue.
After that? Obviously, we get more of like exposition on the threat of the flower, and then they get the dandelions, and they're like riding on the dandelions. It reminded me a lot of One Piece, but let's not go there.
But see, the exposition we got after that about the breakdown of the ruling of the continent was very interesting. Because at first we assumed that it was Bambina who initiated this harsh lifestyle, this harsh ruling system. But in fact, it was the 4 masters or instructors, depending on what translation you're using.
Right.
But the point is that they, like he's chilling out on 100G Mountain, and he says, "All right, you guys, you break up into the 4 territories, and you guys rule over. Each one of you is going to get a territory to rule, and you're going to watch over the island the continent for me. Sorry, island. It's sorry, I had to correct myself there. It's not a freaking island. It's a freaking massive continent.
Yeah.
But anyway, and that was it. So it's like, okay, so then we also... So it's like, okay. And we also learned that this big ape that we saw is the ruler of the north area. Now, it's kind of confusing because, like, ever since they left for the gourmet world, it's like, it's kind of hard to tell what direction they're going. Because it's like, we weren't sure... Because I don't think they were, like, saying, okay... In terms of the human world, were they going south, north, east, or west from where they were going from to head into the gourmet world? I don't remember if that was mentioned.
Yeah, I don't think they're going in a linear direction.
But they are on the northern side of the island, so they have to be heading south to the center of the island.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter if they're going directly south, but they're heading south.
Yeah, for right now.
In the northern area. For now.
Yeah.
So, and then an even weirder part was the friggin', like, suicide plains,
The Sudoku.
as I'm calling it. The suicide plains. Where every single monkey that just, like, 2 chapters ago just tried to kill Toriko and the gang all committed suicide together.
They all committed Sudoku.
Sebaku. So, and then this other ape that has a sword for a tail tries to attack them.
Uh-huh.
And of course, the first person to go out and try and do something was Zebra,
Right.
I think. And then Toriko's like, nope, I got this. Pulls the plan out. It still doesn't back down. Now, granted, as we already learned, this plant it's not afraid of this plant, despite the fact it nearly killed Toriko and the gang. Which is already surprising because, as we learned, this was a plant that was artificially produced to be weaker than its wild counterpart.
Uh-huh.
Which makes it even more OP of a plant.
Yeah.
Then, Toriko feels after using the pollen on this creature, he feels pity for it and helps it recover, and feeds it, and basically says that I'm going to tear down this tyrannical rule.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is interesting because now we know that this ruling of this no predation was set up by the masters in order to make sure that they got all the good stuff and kept getting bigger and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So what it sounds like is that they're trying to eventually overthrow Bambina.
Yeah.
And it's like a race to see who can get strong enough to overthrow Bambina first.
Probably.
Now, I don't remember. Yeah, it was last chapter. As we learned in last chapter, he had I believe it was last chapter. He has a capture level of 1,405.
That's this one. But yeah.
Was it this one?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was the last one.
It's the very
By the
end.
way, we at the very end of the chapter we learned that he has a capture level of 1,405. That is insane.
Yep.
Now we don't even know if this monkey, is the strongest of the 4 masters.
Right.
And we also have no idea how high the capture level of the 8 kings are.
Not to mention, we also don't know if Goritaurus can also do what the other monkeys do.
Oh yeah, we already know. We do know. It's part of the.
Yeah, we do know that they can also raise.
We
their
don't
capture
know
level.
how high that will go. Like
Right.
the newcomers was maybe by like 15, 20 points capture levels. These guys could probably do it by a couple hundred.
Yeah, probably.
Now when I saw this, I was like, I went back and was like, because when I saw this, I'm like, wait a minute, it's that high? And for half a second, I thought, damn it, literally for half a second, I was like, wait a minute, is that higher than Heracles'? But then when I went to look back, I was like, wait, no, it's not, because they never showed the 8 kings. They don't show. I realized, oh wait, they haven't been showing the 8 kings capture levels because they are immeasurable.
Right.
Because they're that high. But I actually would like to for them to give somewhere down the road, I would love for them to give capture levels so I can see how, our minds so far have already been blown as to how much more powerful this continent is in comparison to the 8.
Mm-hmm.
But if we actually, soon or maybe somewhere down the road, they release how they do for Naruto, the data books, and they tell us, hey, look, this is Heracles' capture level. And we end up finding out, his capture level was 2,000 or something. Do you realize how insane that would make it?
Uh-huh.
Now, granted, because he's an 8 king, it's probably a lot higher than that. Maybe, but we don't know, because we don't know any of the 8 kings' capture levels.
Yeah, I'm trying to look, because there was that one part at the very end of the Gourmet Festival where they started showing some ridiculous capture levels. I'm looking back to see if they had shown any of them.
Well, I looked on the Toriko wiki page for the Heracles, and it doesn't show anything.
Gotcha.
For capture level. So, now granted, they might have shown it for one of the other ones. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'll tell you in a sec.
But the fact of the matter is that I mean, yes, it's okay. It's cool that they have immeasurable capture levels, but now that we're seeing this high of a capture level on the second continent, just it makes us want to know what are the capture levels of these 8 kings,
Right.
so that way we could compare them. Because like Heracles, if Heracles' power or capture level ends up being 3,000, and we get to Area 6, and the newcomers are like 2,000. The weak guys on there is 2,000. We're like, because it's presumed that as a whole, each continent is going to get more difficult and more powerful as a whole. But it has also been supposedly stated that Belarus, the dragon of the 8 King dragon of Area 4, is the strongest singular 8 King.
Yeah.
Supposedly. So, I mean, you would think that would in turn make it the strongest area, but since it's presumed that Area 1 is going to have God in it, and that it's going to be done by the Battle Wolf, it's going to be the 8 King there.
Right.
And it's also it's also presumed that as a whole, the area should be the strongest. But you would also figure that the 8 King would be the strongest, because if it's as a whole the strongest area, you would think it would have to be guarded by the strongest 8 King.
Yeah.
But, as we've also learned, raw power isn't necessarily everything. Belarus might have the most power, but the Battle Wolf is probably the most skilled.
Right. Thunderous Devil. Oh, okay. Here is the Fiscadal Tonfant, which is, capture level 2650. And then there is the Ashurasaurus, which is 4220. The Battle Wolf, 6090.
The Battle Wolf 8 King is over 6,000.
Yeah.
That is an insane capture level, but it's like, and what was it? The dinosaur, is that supposed to be one too? Is that supposed to be an 8 King?
No, no.
Damn. Because if the Battle Wolf, the 8 King, the Battle Wolf that is the 8 King of the Battle Wolves, is supposedly the protector of God, and it only has that capture level. Like, after this chapter and this all arc is expecting me to see I figured that all the 8 Kings would be like in the tens of thousands. Capture levels.
Yeah, like the Ashurasaurus is called the Demon Beast Pterosaur, which it's not an 8 King, but it still has a capture level of 4,220. That's still,
which means it would be
over 3 times as big as the Goritaurus.
But we don't even know where that particular beast is. Like, that beast might only reside in Area 1.
Yeah,
and that's why it says or it could be friggin' Area 6 for all we know. We don't know. It's some kind
of dinosaur, so
but see. We don't. Well, like I said, we only know of certain ones. We know that we have a monkey one, we have a dragon one, we have a horse one. There's gonna be a Battle Wolf. There's gonna be a whatever Kiss is.
Yeah.
Or not a Kiss. Kiss, which is like a crow, I think.
Yeah.
It's a crow, and then you have Queen. So we're gonna have Mother Snake. That still leaves hold on. Let me see. Battle Wolf, Snake.
Gonna have Uchiha Itachi as an 8 King of the crows.
Why not? Why the hell not?
Let's fucking go.
But we also have, let's see, hold on. Plus we have horses, monkeys, and then the one that's a dragon. That's 6. So we know 6 of the 8 Kings. So there's 2 other species of 8 Kings that we don't know about.
Right.
Unless they throw us for a loop, and Kiss and Queen aren't descended from 8 Kings, which wouldn't make any sense.
It was heavily implied, so I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all know, we all know that Zebra's animal that he used was definitely descendant from an 8 king. Maybe not directly, but because he had the Dharma horse,
Right.
which was part of the tribe of horses that led Area 8. Now he wasn't an 8 king descendant, but he had a Dharma horse.
And he was friggin' huge.
And he's probably nothing compared to Heracles.
No.
Easily. So, that shows you right there that each of the 4 Heavenly Kings got, at some point, since Zebra was the only one who hasn't been consistently using an animal.
Right.
But all 4 of them, their animal partners that they've used have been produced from, or at least related to by species, or the same species as an 8 king.
Right.
Now, of course, in the case of Terry, Kiss, and Queen, them 3 are descendants of the 8 kings.
Uh-huh.
Now, whether or not they're going to become 8 kings in the future, probably, we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, based on the size, Queen definitely not, because Queen is, first of all, Queen is not even as long as the friggin' den shark, and the den shark is dwarfed in size by the animals in Area 8.
Right.
Or Area 7. And the mother snake is supposed to be able to circumference the entire Toriko planet. Like, it friggin' wears the planet wears the mother snake like a belt.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is that mother snake has to be very long and very wide.
Yeah.
To be able to do that. Which is what's going to make that arc, the inevitable arc where they're going to have to face off against the 8 king mother snake, all the more interesting. Because it's supposed, as we also remember, it supposedly also is consistently moving around the Earth. And that, because I believe it's said that that it's very rare to ever see its head. So it's just going to make everything all the more interesting.
Uh-huh.
So I just can't wait. So I give the chapter, I would say it was a great chapter.
I'd say pretty good, yeah.
Can't wait for the next chapter to come out.
Yeah.
Because it's the big 300.
Yep, 3.
And if he's already been if our minds have already been blown this much by what's been going on, imagine what he would, now there's no guarantee he's going to do anything special for this chapter 300, but if he does, how much more can he blow our mind?
Oh, who knows?
My guess, he's going to reveal the full, like we're going to get to see Bambina in his entirety.
Maybe.
Like that's the only thing I could see right now that would top what he's done so far. I mean, yes, he could also then turn around and show us the other 3 masters and their capture levels. But honestly, because it's 300, we should see what Bambino looks like.
Right.
Because, I mean, I don't feel like waiting a couple, because at this point it seems like we're going to have to go through this master before we get to Bambina.
Yeah.
Or even before we even get to go to 100G Mountain. We're going to have to go through this 8 king, or not 8 king, this master, because he's already on top of them.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter, so I could see maybe them, because I want to say, okay, they engage, the 4 Heavenly Kings engage in a fight against him, and then, the other masters can sense him, and so we get a chance, so, they show what he goes over, or pans over to show us the other masters, sensing that this fight's going on, and we get that, then in turn get to see them, and then it'll have, the panel that says, oh, this such and such, capture level, insane. Now, I wouldn't. Now, if his capture level of 1405 is any indication, I would say. I mean, he's obviously there's no guarantee that he's the strongest of the 4 masters. He could be. We don't know. But I would give it. I would say if he's the strongest. Say, for instance, hypothetically, he ends up being the strongest. I would say the lowest capture level for the masters would probably be, I would say, 1300.
Probably.
And if he's the weakest, I would say the highest would maybe be 1600.
Yeah.
And this is prior to them jumping their capture levels in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, I highly just like we've seen in previous chapters, in the previous fights where this ability has been displayed, they're not going to sit there and show you the capture lever jump every time,
Right.
or even at all, if at all.
Right.
Like they might show it for like the Masters, saying, "Oh, it went up from 1405 to 1805," just to showcase you it. But during the entire fight against this Master, they're not going to show you every time his capture level fluctuates.
Right.
If there was a friggin' anime covering this part, they might have done it to add some time.
True.
But, you know, which pisses me off more that they screwed up the anime that much more, because I wanted to see the Heracles stuff animated, and even more, like this Gourmet World, this post-time skip stuff with Toriko is amazing, and I would have loved to have seen it animated, but unfortunately, it got destroyed. Our hopes for that happening got destroyed.
Yeah.
So all we can hope for is that, like, 10 years down the road, they decide to give it the Brotherhood treatment or the Hunter x Hunter 2011 treatment.
Yeah. Hopefully Madhouse gets them. That'd be awesome. Madhouse is awesome.
And like I said, I think I've said this before, but because I know they're going to do it, because at this rate, Toriko is going to become very big. I think Toriko is going to start becoming big.
At least it fucking should be.
It should, and when it does, that's when they're going to make it. When it becomes really, really popular, that's when they're going to, probably like I said, I think it's probably going to be somewhere around like when we get close, like maybe Area 5 or Area 4 is probably when it's that's probably around the time I think they might decide to bring back the anime. I don't know, because I mean that's the whole thing leading into the De La Rue's Area 4 has to be the hype, because he's supposed to be the strongest.
Right.
So, like, the hype and the fact that everyone says that the reason why the Area 4 8 King is a dragon is because he's making a reference to Dragon Ball Z. And everyone's expecting friggin' Goku to show up. It's like, oh no, it's not De La Rue isn't actually a dragon. It's Goku's Dragon Fist.
Oh god.
Manifested. That would be funny, but no. Of course, everyone also thought that if he really wanted to reference it, he would have saved the monkeys for Area 4.
Mm-hmm.
Or have it be like monkeys and dragons or something. I don't know. The point is that if Toriko is as good as it is now, and it continues to keep getting better, or at least stay at this level, I would find it very possible that Toriko is going to get very popular, and they're going to bring back the anime. Now, of course, it's going to be most likely with a new animator, and or new animation studio, whatever, and obviously they're going to start from the beginning again. Now, this also means that they're going to cut out, they're not going to have the filler episodes or the filler content, because they're going to because, like I said, it's probably going to be for like another 5 or 10 years before they decide to bring back the anime, if they bring it back.
Yeah.
And by that time, there'll be so much content for them to cover. There's not gonna be a real need for them to do filler for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, they're also not gonna rush it because they don't want to catch up.
Right.
Because, like I said, if 5 years down the road they do it, they'll take their time, or the proper amount of time to do it, without filler or overly extending or slowing down with the content. Mm-hmm. So that way, by the time they get to the content that is out in the manga at the time that they restart the anime, that hopefully the story is either almost done or done by the time they get to that point. So that way they don't have to resort to filler.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't and hopefully this time around they don't make it for friggin' Sunday morning cartoon for the kiddies and have to super censor the blood and the gore.
Nah, give it to Madhouse. They'll do it justice.
Mm-hmm. And I hope they do, because I am now especially the thing that disappointed me most about the censorship was I did not get to see the animation didn't give the Toriko Star June fight of the cooking festival the proper what it needed.
Right.
Like, it didn't give it justice.
Mm-hmm.
But all this like epic power that's been going on in the Gourmet world, just further makes me think that by the end of the series, Toriko is going to be able to destroy planets at will. Because, I mean, Jiro was able to, with one punch, stop the flow of the entire planet. Like, we knew the planet was much, much, much bigger than our Earth, but it's not until now that we've gotten into the Gourmet world do we realize how small our Earth is in comparison to Toriko's Earth.
Right.
And the fact that Jiro could stop the rotation of the entire planet with one punch,
mm-hmm.
and he wasn't even even that I don't think was his best. Makes me think, and he didn't even eat Akashi's full course. Like, all of that factors to make me believe that there are going to be so OP by the end of the series.
Right.
Just so OP. Like, they might even, by the end of, like I said, be able to destroy multiple planets with one attack by the end of the series.
Right.
We don't know. No, like, my ideal thing would be, they'd be able to do some serious damage and do, like, casual galaxy level, but that's not going to happen.
Nah, that would be a little too much.
But casual planet? Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, casual planet is definitely, like, reasonable. You don't want to go too far off the scale of your own power.
Well, we don't know how far they're going to go.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, in DBZ, they kind of really went far. Like, at the beginning of, like, when you first started Dragon Ball, the characters were already, like, superhuman in strength. And then they went, and then, like, by the end of Dragon Ball, before Dragon Ball Z, at the end of Dragon Ball, they were, like, continent level. Maybe, no, not continent level, maybe, like, country level. Maybe.
No,
or at least,
not quite.
okay. Alright, yeah.
Well, it depends.
It was more like a city level. Like, they could destroy very large cities, maybe like a state.
Yeah, it really depends if you consider that Jackie Chun was able to do what he did to the moon, and then...
Well, I mean, yeah, he blew up the moon, but that's iffy.
I know.
Because, I mean, in friggin' DBZ's world, the friggin' moon is flimsy as shit.
Yeah, true.
Now, DBZ, at the beginning of DBZ, when Raditz was introduced, he was easy country level. Maybe even small continent level. But by the end of the series, they were friggin' galaxy level.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the destruction wasn't actually on the level of a galaxy. They never actually destroyed galaxies. But based on the power, you would have to assume they could easily destroy a galaxy.
Right.
Not that they would, but it just had to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry, maybe not necessarily, maybe easy for, like, Boo, but, like, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, maybe, like, with some difficulty, but could still do it. And then if you look at friggin' now, of course, since we obviously don't know what Battle of Gods, how that pertains to the DBZ universe, we can't really necessarily count it.
It's canon.
It's canon.
Yeah.
So, like, DBZ, like, Super Saiyan God, which is like, what, only 70% of Beerus' power?
Something like that.
It probably makes Goku, at that point, Goku is, like, easy galaxy level. Maybe even multi-galaxy level. Not sure. Beerus, definite multi-galaxy level.
Yeah.
Now, about his partner guy, who supposedly is implied to be much stronger than him, who knows?
Yeah, let's not get too far off from Toriko.
Well, we are way off from Toriko.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Alright. We went off on a major tangent.
Yeah.
So, you can just put that in the video, say, we went off on a major tangent. If you want to sit there and listen to it, do so. If not, skip it.
Yeah.
I mean, on all honesty, we just went way off tangent. Alright, so,
so let's move on here.
The next point I want to talk about, I mean, because since I want to save Naruto for last, we're going to talk about Fairy Tail.
Yeah.
Alright. The beginning was a little, iffy. This is the whole part about how it was just basically recapping what everyone else was doing at the time. And then Lucy comes in her basically explains what's been going on.
Right.
Everyone, and then Wendy shows up, and they're all surprised that she cut her hair, and like, oh my god.
Wasn't that last chapter?
Oh yeah, that is last chapter.
This chapter started off where Makarov is telling them to get down to the
basement.
basement.
Sorry. Makarov, my apologies. Makarov is telling everyone to come to the basement of the guild hall. Everyone's like, wait, why? It's destroyed. No, in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Underneath the basement that you guys knew about. And then it gets kind of weird. Like, okay, I need all of your memories are going to have to be, and especially you, Doran Bolt. Now, there are a lot of theories as to why. Like, some people say that has something to do with how Lumi's story is going to work. It involves them losing their memories. But, in all honesty, they're going way too deep in it. The reason why he says he wants them all there is so that, and especially Doran Bolt, is because he wants Doran Bolt to erase all their memories of what Lumi's story is about to do.
Exactly.
And existence of Lumi's story, so it can remain a secret.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of sort of breaks my favorite theory of the previous chapter, which was that Mavis was going to be freed and then stick around as a character, as a physical being. So that kind of destroys that theory, but that whole thing. Then, just to showcase us where we are in the timeline, we see the Urza Kaguya fight. Like, really? We needed to see that again? Do we really need to see that again? No. But they wanted to show us how close we were to that counter hitting Zero.
Right.
And then there was... Oh yeah, Elfman was like, I don't really want to go to the guild because I'm still guilty for destroying it. And then Makarov's, I forget who, I think it was Makarov, basically was like, gave him a talking to and said, get your ass over here. Basically.
Yeah.
And then we go over to, the fight with Natsu and the Twin Drag. First we go over to the fight between Ignial and Acnologia. And now Ignial has brought the fight into the deep, like the bit higher up area of the atmosphere.
Right.
And it's basically like, alright, we're far away enough now, let's get serious.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically declares that he's going to beat Acnologia, whereas Acnologia is just like, bitch, please.
Yeah, it's the usual banter. I thought that page was really artistically well done, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I'm hoping, and I'm praying, that he doesn't get Oda-itis and skips the fight. I just would hate that to happen.
Yeah.
But, I'm getting deja vu of... Anyway, then we go back to the fight between Mark Gears and the Dragon Slayers, who are getting their asses kicked. Still. And then he pulls out this, giant, man-eating plant-looking thing, and he's about to, basically kill them all. And then that ending happens. And they get sick. All of a sudden, the plant freezes, and you didn't even have to know. There was only one person with freezing powers who would be coming in at this point.
You know who it is.
Great Bullbuster, who does what the three Dragon Slayers couldn't, and actually inflict damage on Mark Gears.
Mm-hmm.
His power-up makes him stronger than three Dragon Slayers combined.
Let's fucking go.
Gray, the Ice Devil Slayer, which is funny for those of you fans who know that originally Gray was planned to be an Ice Dragon Slayer.
Uh-huh.
So I guess this is kind of like he wrote this in as a part of, like, to pay homage to that original idea. But the fact is this is so much better because it makes him, like, right now, with this display of power in this chapter, it makes Gray seem to be on par with Mark Gears. And this is after. Now, we already discussed last week how the Spirit King couldn't make him go serious, but it took 3 Dragon Slayers to get serious, or somewhat serious.
Mm-hmm.
But now Gray is showcasing power that makes it seem equal, or even greater, than Mark Gears. Which means, in turn, now this could just be because he's a Double Slayer, and Mark Gears is a demon, but right now, this is making Gray seem stronger than the Celestial Spirit King right now.
Oh my gosh.
Which, for all you Gray fans out there, is like, should be putting you on freaking Cloud 9.
I'm on tilt right now, man.
Exactly.
Dude, this is awesome. Look, Gray got disrespected for so long in this manga, and now
this arc alone has been, like, it should be renamed the Gray Badassery arc.
Yeah.
Or something like, or the Gray's super character development arc.
Yeah.
Or something.
Gray, for a while, he was my favorite character for a while, and then I started to see, like that Laxus was starting to become the better character for a while, and then Grand Magic Games hit, and I still thought so. At the very end, I started to see Laxus kind of start to decline a little bit, and then, when all my hopes were being let up, fucking Gray comes in. He gets better as a character. He takes over again. The king is back, and now he is awesome.
He has been rising ever since the end of the Grand Magic Games. Gray has been rising up the ranks of Fairy Tail, and hasn't been stopping. Like, as I said in last week's podcast, even Urza, being Urza, just because she's Urza, probably couldn't beat Mark Gears. But Gray has the potential, has now gained the power to beat Mark Gears. Which right now, and since we don't, right now, Gray is in my opinion, based on this little bit of, now of course we also know that the scarf was what he found. Oh my god, big shock, that's what he found in last week's chapter. But anyway, Ray, right now, on what he's shown so far, which is very little, there's no question. At this moment, Gray is the strongest wizard in Fairy Tail right now. Period. You're freaking Gildart, shut the fuck up. He left. He's not here right now.
Makarov himself is pretty OP.
Makarov's pretty OP, but right now he can't do shit. Alright? Right now, like, Gray is being made out to be the most powerful right now. Now, yes, granted, Makarov might still be stronger, but honestly, Gray is still looking stronger. And Gildarts, he just freaking screwed everyone over and said, let's leave, and left. So, who the hell knows what honestly, even though we already knew that Gray had gotten this power up, I was more so expecting Gildarts to show up before seeing Gray show up.
Right.
Which to me seems surprising, because I'm like, wait, hold on. Gildarts left after the Grand Magic Game, or no, before the Grand Magic Games.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't been in and to go up, first of all, he better friggin' show up before the end of the series again.
Yes.
And not for some end of wrap up, like in the last couple of chapters that are focused solely on wrapping up the series. No, I want him to be in, if this is him not being here and facing off against some powerful opponent automatically disproves that in my mind, that this is the final arc. Because you cannot have a final arc and not have Gildarts there.
Mm-hmm.
Unless for some reason he decides to kill Gildarts off, which he's not, or at least not off screen. This isn't freaking, nobody. he's not going to kill off Guild Arts, in my opinion. And he's not going to kill... And if he does, he's not going to do it off screen. It's going to be when he's fighting in the final arc. If he's killed at all. Which I don't think he is. And I do not think he's going to finish this story without Guild Arts having a major fight in the final arc. Because Guild Arts is supposed to be the #1 most powerful member. He's supposed to be more powerful than Makarov. Or at least close or around the same power level.
Right.
So if he's not in the final arc, it makes no sense. It would just defeat the purpose. Because now a lot of people, to go off. Now a lot of people, as we all know, when Ignil showed up, people were thinking that meant it was the final arc because Natsu's whole goal was to find Ignil. But honestly, I think one of the things that's going to happen before the end of the series is Natsu, in a legitimate one-on-one fight, beats Urza. Meaning Urza loses her first fight, and then, also before the end, Natsu beats Guild Arts. I'm saying that right. Those two things I feel need to happen before the series ends. Or at least, because those were two, and of course, just like with Naruto, there's going to be a final fight between him and his rival, Gray. Now, him versus Gray in a full-on fight, him versus Urza in a full-on fight, and him versus Natsu versus Guild Arts in a full-on fight. Those three fights, I feel, are going to happen before this arc's over. Or not arc, but the series is over. I just had that feeling.
Okay.
So, but the chapter started off, or so what, it was okay, but that ending was just amazing. So.
Solid.
So, Strider, as a huge Gray fan, what do you think of the chapter?
I would say solid. As I said, I'm a big fan of Gray in terms of fairy tale characters. Obviously, I like Margir a lot. He's my favorite villain so far. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Jalal, but I like him more so as
because he didn't turn good, and he's not freaking Urza's not going after Margir's D. She wants Jalal's D.
Yeah, I more so like Jalal as a good character than a bad character.
Well, technically he's an anti-hero, but
I like him. I like Mystagon a lot.
Well, Mystagon was cool, but then it was like the only thing I was disappointed in was the fact that he wasn't really in it. Like you saw him at the end of the Battle of Fairy Tail, and then you saw him again at the beginning in little bits and pieces in the Edalus arc, and then they left him behind, and then the Jalal of this world brought back the persona for the Grand Magic Games, but I would have loved to have seen the real Mystigan in a good fight.
Same. I also thought it was badass how when Jalal fought the Eurasian Stace in this current arc. And but anyway, back to the chapter itself. I thought it was a pretty solid chapter. Yeah, the beginning started off okay, and then obviously the banter between Ignil and Aknologi was whatever. But like I said, artistically it was cool. And then the last part was just
Now, here's another thing that I don't think is going to happen by the end of the series, but I would wish that would happen, is that, to stop Zeref and End and all that, they have to, in the final battle, a rift opens up and you get the Edalus people coming in, and you have Jalal fighting alongside his Edalus counterpart who's fighting as Mystigan, with the Mystigan magic, with the other Jalal fighting with his heavenly magic or whatever it is.
Yeah, the meteor and shit.
I mean, that. Honestly, them two fighting together against an opponent would be awesome, I think.
And especially in the English dub, because you would have Robert McCullum talking to Robert McCullum.
And that's already awesome.
That's already you've already made an amazing dub just by having two Robert McCullums in the same scene.
but it's the exact same voice.
Yeah.
It's not freaking the old days of DBZ where you had one voice actor having like 15 characters in a scene, voicing like 15 characters, and like 5 of them doing an entire scene together,
Right.
something like that. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to make that point that I think it would be awesome for the two Jalaws to fight together with their
Yes.
respective magics.
Absolutely.
But anyway, good chapter of Fairy Tail.
Sure.
On to Naruto!
Let's go.
The second to last chapter release. Not the second to last chapter.
Right.
Because, as we learned after the release of chapter 698, we learned that this week, probably obviously by the time any of you will watch this, but most likely since this video will be out by Wednesday, and it's looking like it's going to come out Thursday for us people over here in America land who read it online. We learned that it's going to be 2 chapters. Chapters 699 and 700 are going to be released together.
Hell yeah.
And that the chapter 699 is going to have a full color cover, and that the entire chapter 700, every single page, every single panel is going to be in full color for the finale. So that is just amazing.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the chapter itself, we're going to show our live reactions. So, starting, I guess we'll probably start with mine because I cut it down to about 5 minutes.
Yeah, mine's about like 11 minutes, I think.
Yeah, my actual reaction was about 10 minutes, but a lot of it was literally just pauses, just reading, and then, clicking to the next page. But regardless, what you're going to see now is our live reactions, and afterwards,
we'll review the chapter.
Review.
Let's fucking go. Live reaction. I literally just woke up, so, but we in there. Okay, page 1. Alright, those eyes. Page 2. Okay, artwork. Or color spread. Yep. He uppercutted his ass. That's pretty cool. Just be a good boy and let me kill you. Page 3. Okay, oh shit, he's about to use the Kagetsuchi. And he's using Chidori at the same time? The fuck? They're about to clash Chidori and Rasengan. Wait a minute. What the fuck? Isn't that just... I guess it's also a Kurama induced, so whatever. No, but he doesn't have like the eyes or nothing. I don't know. If the Rasengan beats Chidori induced fucking Kagetsuchi, that'd be retarded. Oh, this bullshit again. With the white light. And they tied. Yo. Naruto actually didn't win? The fuck? Yo, Kishi. I fell into darkness and gained powers to cut everything my way. Why is he asking, why do you care so much about me? Don't we already fucking know this answer? That's because you're my friend. First off, thank you, Manga Panda, for spelling your wrong. Wrong your, at least. You already said that once. What the fuck? Then why'd you ask? You knew what he was gonna say. I knew that in the past you were always alone. Like me, the last Uchiha left, you were cast out. Uh-oh. Are we getting a Talk no Jutsu? Oh, fuck. Sasuke. Don't do it. I tried to realize I wanted to fight with you. Feel pain too, but I understood your pain first time I considered you my comrade. It's the opposite. I was the one envious of you? You had a kind of strength I was missing. You always walked in front of me much like my brother used to. And today, the sun is rising. Look to my coming on first light of the 5th day. At dawn, look to the east. Oh my gosh. There's a panel of them both like closing their eyes, and it looks like they just got done having a go at each other. Don't tell me it. Looks like we slept until morning. See, they want. It's not. It can't be just me though. What? What? I lost. And that smile? What the fuck? Oh, he looks blind too. What the? Or at least shaded. Like his eyes are like shaded weird. I finally acknowledged you. If I die now, the destiny that, according to the hermit, is bound us sorrow into. That would be revolutionary too. You can just dissolve the internal Tsukuyomi after I die by transplanting my left eye into Kakashi. Oh wait, what? I number some pages wrong? What the fuck? Manga Panda? Yo. What the fuck? He's actually crying? What the... What? What the fuck? Their arms are gone. What? What? Yo. Yo, they're fucking holding hands in blood. They're like, it looks like they're holding hands, but they don't have hands. Yo. What? I don't I can't. This is wow. Kishimoto doing shit that I did not expect. Good shit. That's the chapter. The fuck? I don't know why he's saying I lost if they since they tied, but I'm guessing he's because he wanted to be alone. That's the reason why he lost because he couldn't kill Naruto. So yeah, I get it. Alright, so that's it for live reaction. That was fucking crazy.
Hello, this is the live reaction of the Naruto Chapter 698 of the Mystic Podcast. So it looks like we have, Naruto, Sasuke getting ready to attack Naruto, and you see inside of Naruto with what looks like the QB either looks like it was remembering it. And he's saying, let's see how. Okay, so it's some nice art. Yo, shit! He just belted him in the face. Like he. So there goes our theory of him catching it. He just uppercutted the shit out of him. Yes, Naruto, you're the one and only. He's still pulling up some kind of fire attack. Yes, interesting. So he can't absorb the chakra and cast Jutsu at the time. So Naruto should be, and QB still has chakra for him to have. And let's see, Sasuke is coming down with his, I guess, combination of Amaterasu and Chidori. And oh my god, it looks like he is pulling out a Rasengan, one-handed Rasengan. Oh my god, Strider was right. It looks like he's some internal struggle with himself, like, talking to himself before the attacks. Oh yeah, remembering how he oh yeah, it's the flashback of when he was saying how he'll somehow remove the hate from the QB, and you see an up close personal look at their attacks as they're preparing to collide, and the two attacks collide. Oh, this is insane. Like, it's just Naruto and the attacks are colliding, and flames and lightning and wind are going everywhere. It is just, oh damn, there goes the rest of the statues. Just, and oh my, wow, interesting. It's like everything's like fading to white. It's like, what's gonna happen? Alright, the first panel is the moon, Sasuke, and apparently they're both just waking up. It's, I don't know. So Sasuke looks at Naruto, and apparently they've hit their limit, and if they move too much, they'll bleed to death. And they're just sitting there. Okay. Okay, so Naruto, why do you care so much? Yes. Okay, woohoo, he's your friend, but what does that truly mean, Naruto? What? You feel the pain when he talks about trying to carry everything on his shoulders. You kind of feel the pain, and just the look in Sasuke's eyes is like intriguing. So what does he have left to say? It's like surprise. Just it really hurts. There's no way I can just ignore it. Okay, I'm hurting all over, so there isn't much I can do. And then he starts to laugh, and then Sasuke he flashbacks to, an image of what Naruto looked like when he first met him. It's that whole, in that space where their childhood selves are seeing each other. In the past, you were always alone, like me in the last week you had that you were cast out. You acted like an idiot on purpose so that people would scold you because you wanted them to pay attention to me. At first, I thought you weren't worth considering at all, that you were just a weakling playing around. But after seeing you do stupid things against literally time, for some reason I started to keep my eyes on you. I guess that's maybe Naruto, or Sasuke talking about Naruto. At the time I also realized that your weakness had started to see me too. I couldn't stop paying attention to you. When I saw you doing everything you could to create bonds with others, it reminded me of my family. Oh yeah, so this is definitely Sasuke. It's like Sasuke giving some talking about, his relationship with Naruto and how it grew. So it's definitely getting interesting. For some reason, this made him feel. However, it makes him feel relieved, but it also, however, I also thought it was a weakness. I trained hard to escape from that weakness and to become stronger than my brother to take revenge on him. But then you ended up in the same team as me, and I got reminded of my family again. After clearing missions with you who wanted to become Hokage, I could feel clearly that we were both getting stronger, and I realized that I wanted to fight with you. I started to see Team 7 somewhat like my family, and that's when I saw you suffer, I would. Ooh, Sasuke gonna actually have feelings? Ooh, and he would feel pain too. No, this is starting to sound like some kind of friendship, speech where he's going to, change his mind, and they're gonna be buddies again. When I understood your pain, for the first time I considered you my comrade. But at the same time, I couldn't just let you become stronger. So when I saw how strong you had become, what? I also knew that you were always alone too. I was relieved to see someone else like me, and I felt so happy I kind of wanted to talk to you right away. It sounds like we switched over to Naruto talking to Sasuke. But I didn't, cause I was envious of your skills. Yeah, this is Naruto talking now, and I decided you'd be my rival. You became my goal. For the first time, I had a bond. And I believe it's still Naruto talking. Missions is Team 7. I kept going after you because I wanted to become strong and cool like you. Ooh! So now Sasuke's like, it's the opposite. I was the one envious of you. You had a kind of strength I was missing. You always walked in front of me, much like my brother used to. And today too. Now we see a picture of the valley. I mean, I don't know if it's a previous picture because I don't know how destroyed. This is, I guess, an angle if you were looking from the waterfall, maybe out. And their eyes both close. And, okay, they're still tired. And don't tell me it's heaven. Looks like we slept until morning. Once again, you're still rocking. I still can't move. I wanted to punch you until you open your eyes. And once and for all. He's laughing. Naruto's like, huh? Question? Don't sit there and tell me that this chapter is going to end without anything really being. I mean, it seems like the fight's resolved, and maybe this somehow it's going to change Sasuke's mind, but it's. This is the second to last chapter, and it doesn't seem like it's going to cover. It's just going to cover. Okay, end the fight. Alright, Sasuke's laughing. He questions him. Sasuke's like, do you still want to fight in your condition? Of course, Naruto's like, yells out even though he can barely move. I'm not giving up. And then Sasuke says, I'll admit it. Naruto's like, I lost. Oh, damn. So, Sasuke admits defeat with a smile. That's a shock. It's interesting that he would finally admit defeat. Okay, it says, idiot, there aren't winners or losers in this fight. I'm just trying to punch reason into a friend that won't listen to me. The real fight is after that? Huh? What's the real fight? What do you mean by the real fight? Hey, Naruto, I finally acknowledged you. If I die now, the destiny that according to the hermit has bound us so far will end as well. That would be revolutionary too. You can just dissolve the eternal supernovae after I die by transplanting my left eye into Kakashi. And then you see what looks like, Sasuke trying to prepare to die or something, and Naruto looks at him seriously. I wanted to deal with you by myself. You can't deal with anything when you're dead. These would help me out instead of dying. My dream is for all humans to work together, and this includes you too. And if it sits well with you, what about the rest? Yeah, stop nitpicking, will you? I swear I'll beat you up. Naruto trying to be funny until the end. I might come your ass again, Then I'll stop you again. Plus, I don't think you'd do it anyway. How are you so sure? How can you be so confident, Naruto? And don't sit there and freaking say friend, not because you're my friend. Or else I'm gonna just blow a top. Don't make me repeat myself again. You still don't understand, do you? Huh? Who knew you'd be that stupid? Oh my... Naruto and Sasuke are missing their respective hands in, Sasuke's left hand and Naruto's right hand, up to their elbows, maybe even slightly past it. For Naruto's maybe up to his elbows, Sasuke maybe even higher than that, but it's just gone. So the reason why Naruto's hands are going to be bandaged up is because of some I don't know, so he has a hand, a right hand, and the rest of his arm, but it's just right now it's just gone. Oh my god. And of course Sasuke ends it off with just saying, shut up, stupid. And it says, what lies at the end of hurt and loss? Whoa. So that's the chapter. I mean, it's interesting because it's interesting because the fight's finally over, but it's at the same time it's confusing. But I'll talk about that more in the review.
Alright. So, hopefully you guys watched both of our live reactions. I thought they were both kind of amusing to some degree.
Okay, sorry, alright? I'm not that amusing of a person.
You said
anyway,
it, not me.
Well, hi. We're all, come on, neither one of our reactions are as funny as King of Lightning.
No.
He's just a master when it comes to funny live reactions.
He's got that charisma, so...
Yeah, he got his charisma, he high charisma. There's just no other way to say it.
Uh-huh.
So, our thoughts. I'll let you start since your reaction was first.
All right, so into the chapter, as we knew, the setup from the last chapter, we knew that Chidori was not going to kill Naruto right off the bat. And there were a couple theories. We were thinking maybe he would catch the Chidori. There was the possibility of the Hashirama thing, where it was going to be a clone, and then he was going to do the stab. And then there was also the possibility that he was going to do the Neji, which is what happened actually, which uppercut.
No, well, actually, no. The theory was we forgot also the theory that people thought that maybe Sakura was going to somehow show up because since in the last week's chapter they showed her waking up.
Right.
It's assumed at that point that she was going to show up and take the hit for Naruto, or that was one of the theories.
Yeah, the uppercut was pretty popular though, and
my god, the uppercut was awesome,
and it was cool. I liked it.
Of course. Now the other interesting fact is that based on everything that's happened this chapter, it seems as if when Sakura woke up in last chapter, that it was after their fight had already ended. Or at least that's what it makes it seem.
Maybe.
Like, we don't know, but anyway, to continue, afterwards, we basically find out that despite the fact that Sasuke stole chakra that was going to be given to Naruto, or the Beast, or Kurama still had some chakra to give to Naruto, but after doing so, he'd go night-night.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't be around for the rest of the fight. And as for Sasuke, despite using a Chidori, still had chakra to continue to do another attack after that, which ends up being a Chidori combined with Amaterasu.
Which doesn't make a whole ton of sense, but whatever.
It's awesome.
I mean, it was cool looking, but I don't get the logic behind it. Like, why didn't he just shoot the Anton into... He couldn't... It's not like he could dodge anymore. He didn't have any chakra. He just fucking shoot it.
Yeah, because he also tried to use the yeah, it was just... He wanted to do that. Alright? And it makes it look cool.
Mm-hmm.
Alright? And then Naruto rocking the Rasengan, and they clash.
Mm-hmm.
And everything goes to white. But before it does, you see both statues being completely obliterated.
Yep. They're
just gone. Because we all know they're probably going to be replaced by Sasuke and Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, now the following part when they wake up is where a lot of people where the chapter kind of lost a lot of people because it turned into, as we Naruto fans call, the talk no jutsu.
Uh-huh.
Section of this fight, which people didn't really like, or not everybody enjoyed.
Right.
But I mean, I felt it was necessary because I mean they were going to have to talk after they were done fighting. I mean,
right.
But there was a lot of interesting things, like Sasuke admitted his defeat and said, "Okay, I admit it. You're better."
Right.
Which
in my live reaction, like you could see me. Like, at first I was like, why did he say that? Like, the fight itself was a draw. And then I corrected myself. By the end, I realized it's like, okay, like, I realized that because his goal was to kill Naruto, and Naruto's goal was not killing Sasuke, he failed his mission, basically.
Naruto completed his goal of not killing Sasuke, but Sasuke was unable to complete his goal of killing Naruto.
So in that regard, he lost. Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is neither one of them could move.
Right.
Now, until the final panel, we don't know. All we knew was that they were bleeding. We didn't know,
mm-hmm.
and that if they moved, they were going to bleed out and die. But it wasn't until the end is until we found out why.
Yeah.
Now, we'll talk about that slightly later. I mean, obviously you already know because you saw live reactions, and of course you've read the chapter already. But we're going to get to that. We'll get to that when we get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the other interesting things is we find out basically Kishimoto proceeds through like a otherworld flashback type style thing where they're in like their own weird. They were like that whole thing, like the same thing they kind of did with like I guess like Obito and Rin when they're just like floating there and like this space, and then they, as their younger selves, and they're basically sitting there talking, and Sasuke basically lays out his feelings.
Right.
And we basically find out what he was thinking the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess makes sense since it's ending.
It's necessary.
Necessary.
Yeah.
Now, of course, not everybody liked it, especially since they basically... Sasuke just laid out, okay, the reason why I became a road shinobi was... The fact that I was because when I joined Team 7, I started to think of you guys as my family, and it scared me because I was worried to lose you.
Mm-hmm.
So I became a rogue shinobi to prevent that from happening.
Right.
So, and that apparently the entire time he was jealous of Naruto, and that he felt that Naruto was being like his brother Itachi and always being, being ahead of him in life.
Right.
So that was another thing. So that was kind of interesting. At the same time, unexpected, I guess. I mean, I don't think I was expecting Sasuke to sit there and say a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, some of it I expected, but not all of it.
No. And then, of course, you have the funny moments where Naruto's like, I'm still going to continue this fight. And Sasuke's like, no, how can you still fight in your condition? I'm like, doesn't matter, I'm still going to beat your butt.
Mm-hmm.
Can't move, but I'm going to still beat your butt.
And of course, you have Manga Panda doing another Naruto tease where, he says, even if it sits well with you, like about him cooperating with Naruto.
Oh, yes.
Hold on, let me finish. Mm-hmm. He says, stop picking. I swear I'll beat you up. And then Sasuke says in the Manga Panda translation, I might come for your ass again,
Yes, I know. That's funny. Now, of course, yes, that's one of the other points. Is like, that. But there's also the fact that he says that, oh, well, you might accept me, but back to the village. But what about everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Now, yes, it's true that Sasuke's done a lot of bad shit, but for the most part, up until he declared his revolution, he made up for that.
He's done way more good than bad.
Oh yes, but
way more.
Now, of course, if Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi don't say anything, nobody else is going to know that Sasuke planned on starting a revolution by killing the 5 Kage and Naruto.
Right.
So, which none of them are going to say that. So, Sasuke's going to be now. But then again, as we know, since the movie is canon, Sasuke looks like he's a wanderer. Mm-hmm. So even though he might be accepted back to the village, it still seems like he doesn't go back to the village.
Right.
He remains like not on the run, but just he's a nomad basically.
Yeah.
Or a vagabond, as some people said. And then one of the other things, of course, we talk about is how Sasuke is like, oh, well, how do you know you're not going to go after me? And, why do you keep going after me? And then Sasuke, too many S's. Jesus. Naruto basically says, oh, it's because you're my friend. And then, and I think it's the second time when he says, oh, how do you know I'm not going to come after you again, is when he says, oh, wait, no. How do I have to really keep telling you? How are you so stupid?
Mm-hmm.
And then Sasuke, and then we go to the last panel where Sasuke's says to Naruto, "Shut up, stupid."
Right.
Which is funny, but you couldn't laugh at it because you were too busy being shocked at that last panel.
Right.
Sasuke's entire left arm and Naruto's entire right arm is gone. Well, no, sorry, not entire, because Sasuke's it looks like it's entirely off, but for some reason. For Naruto, it looks like it only went up to the elbow.
Yeah.
Or maybe slightly past that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can clearly see some arms still left out go, because it's protruding from, there's still some arm protruding from his shirt.
Right.
But Sasuke, there's just nothing.
There's a little bit, but not really
It looks like
much.
there's a little bit at the top, where the shoulder is, but at all. So it begs the question is, what do they do to get to those arms afterwards? Because Naruto has been confirmed to have something there.
Mhm.
Some people think it, and he uses it for a Rasengan, so it has to be something that is capable of, transmitting chakra through. So
What's the answer for everything?
Well, yeah, because it has to. So now, since it's still wrapped up, at first you figure, okay, if they found, first the obvious choice would be like, oh, they find some way to regenerate it or something. Well, if they could actually regenerate it, why would Naruto need to keep it bandaged up?
The answer should be obvious at this point
And it's not. Because my prevailing theory is that, and the reason is, because it's wrapped up, there's an even greater prevailing theory, and that is that his arm has not been regenerated, but that it's a prosthetic hand.
Oh, it is a prosthetic of some sort, but not the way you think.
Well,
maybe it's
I believe it. Now, of course, in the world of Naruto, yes, that they have certain pieces of technology that you wouldn't expect. They do have electricity and all that other stuff, but they don't have advanced, machines, or as far as I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
So, my best guess is that it's a puppet arm. Of some sort.
There's a much simpler answer, though.
I mean, that's my best. And what is that?
Well, what is the answer to every problem? So, in this past arc, the answer to everything is Hashirama's DNA.
Oh, wait, what? You think that they might somehow... Wait, well, how? Because there's no one with Hashirama's direct DNA powers.
They've been doing that forever, man. Look at Danzo.
Well, I mean, unless they... Oh, wait. I guess maybe Yamato. So, yeah, we got Yamato.
Yamato, you got Orochimaru.
Orochimaru doesn't have it.
Well, he's been doing it for a while. He did it to Danzo.
He's been working on it, so maybe Orochimaru is the one who's going to be able to use Yamato's Hashirama DNA to restore their arms.
Kabuto can do it. We saw him inject Hashirama's DNA into Sasuke.
He did?
Yeah, I remember when he was saving him. Remember the foot was, the mysterious foot? It was Kabuto, and he was...
Oh, so maybe Sasuke might already be able to regenerate it.
We'll see.
Who knows? We don't know. Because we only saw him briefly in the trailer, and in terms of still pictures, you've only seen his full body in chibi form. And I don't know if even that showed his left arm.
Right.
We don't even know if he has a left arm. Probably.
Yeah,
Probably
he
does.
Should.
He should. So it's going to be it. So even if Naruto's arm is restored through Hashirama DNA, my thing is why would he want to cover it up? Is he embarrassed by it?
It might be a different color because
all deformed and he doesn't want to.
I mean, look at Danzo. Danzo's his Hashi arm was different color than his other arm, so
Well, I mean, wasn't his Hashirama arm pale?
It was
white?
Yeah, it was like white, like Zetsu white.
White Zetsu white.
Yeah.
Got to be specific because there's also black Zetsu.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's probably the case, but it's also going to be interesting to see how that works out because remember, this week we're getting 2 chapters.
Mm-hmm.
This upcoming week we're going to be getting 2 chapters, and it's going to be interesting to see what they cover. Because then that'll, since the movie is supposed to be about love.
Oh, fuck.
Yes, it's supposed to be focusing a lot on the love aspects. So most likely it's going to answer the question of the fact that Naruto and Hinata are going to pair up together.
God.
Most likely, there are some people who are holding out, hoping that it's a big old troll and he ends up with nobody, or some people are thinking that some people are thinking that that the movie's gonna end and he's only gonna subtly imply that they end up together. Some people are thinking he's not even gonna they're not gonna officially get together in the movie. but that it's only going to be implied, or not even like, or it's going to be implied that they don't get together,
That
something like that, or he ends up with somebody else. But that's their belief. Now, based on the information we've been given, it's presumed that that they're going to get together by the end of the movie, and that Naruto is going to declare his love for Hinata, even though she's already done it like 15 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how things get wrapped up. You know, we've been talking about it for the past couple of weeks when they first announced that the Naruto manga, when they first announced the final date of the Naruto manga.
Mm-hmm.
We've just been nonstop talking and thinking about what they were going to do for this, how they were going to end it, and now it's upon us. Now so this chapter I say was pretty solid, but the last note I have to note is apparently people were having issues with the fact that they thought that the fact that their blood from their arms were touching in a way where if there was blood was arm, they'd be holding each other's hand, and they felt that was like homoerotic. Which, of course, honestly, now some people thought it supposedly looked like a heart. But either way, whether it was intended or not to be homoerotic, I mean, I'm leaning more towards that it was intended because of the fact that he's been like troll, like he puts that in there on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Like the fact that everyone's favorite pairing is not Sasuke and Naruto isn't by accident. He does this on purpose.
Yes.
But overall, I thought it was a pretty good, solid chapter.
Yeah, it was a nuts chapter. I'll tell you that much. That's the best I can give it as a rating.
Nuts.
It was
nuts. Well, yeah, it was very good. I mean, it was good. So that just about covers that.
Yeah.
So, Shokugeki no Soma this week was definitely very interesting, where it starts off with Kurokiba also finished his dish, and he clashes with Taki. Their personalities are both, an attitude type of personality, and they clash. And then very quickly they get into the tasting, and we see that he marinated his eel prior to it, and he says, I put gunpowder into that eel. Obviously not actual gunpowder, but it's figurative gunpowder where the flavor is just going to explode and blow them away. And then we see the one chick with blonde hair, and we see a pretty revealing picture with looks like eels wrapping around her. That looks awesome, of course. And we find out he put plum inside of the eel, which doesn't sound good to me, but I'm sure whatever was fine. And so, uh, the way he, the way he's, there's this one panel where you see Taki and the blonde haired girl, they're blushing as they're eating it, and meanwhile Kurokiba says, "Now devour it with abandon. Do it until you can no longer stand." According to what's on Manga Bird, and you see the panel, his teeth look like fangs. It looks awesome, and Taki of course doesn't like the way his tone really, and we start to see Hinako is crying at this, and then we finally see Taki completely get screwed, and then she turns into a zebra, and we see tiger claws or whatever grabbing onto her hoof, And that looks very good, very nice. And then you see something like Krokiba in some sort of tiger like transformation type of thing. It looks pretty cool. I guess like a were tiger. Breath of Fire 3, let's go. And so when they choose, they're in big hesitation. And finally, Hinako is the first one to vote and says votes for Hayama, and so does um, the other one, the one that I don't really know his or her name. I don't even know if it's a he or she. And then Dojima votes for Kurokiba, and then so does Taki. And which is interesting because even though Taki didn't like Kurokiba, his tone, she still picked him, which means that she is very unbiased. And the blonde haired chick cannot pick. And we see he's like Kurokiba's like, don't fuck with us, and he gets really intense, and then Alice has a whistle that she's blowing. She's like, calm down, Ryo-kun. Just great. And so they propose for um, a three-way finals by having a tie between Hayama and Kurokiba, and so that's what has occurred. So in this chapter, I thought was pretty good. I expected Kurokiba to win, but I did see sliver of chance for Hayama. But the fact that they tied is also pretty good. I mean, it was an unexpected uh, outcome, so I could definitely appreciate that, and um, I want to see both of them still cook. So I'm glad. I'm actually glad that they tied. It's actually pretty decent. So we'll get to see a nice three-way battle. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be awesome. So yeah, that's the chapter. And next we're gonna go to Bleach. So Bleach this week, I'm gonna say it was a bit subpar for Bleach's current standards, but was just an okay chapter because of the fact that everybody below has been sacrificed, including Basby, which threw me off because I was kind of hoping that we would get a little bit more. Maybe see Byakuya fight all out. Maybe Renji kind of fought all out, but regardless, I wanted to see Renji beat the crap out of Basby because I like that, but I like Basby, but I wanted to see Renji beat him. Mostly because Toshiro is basically dead because of him. Um, so it threw me off that Yuhabak is now sacrificing all of them and has now brought back the what he calls my Zero Division, my Squad Zero, which is interesting that he considers them his Zero Division when they got completely wrecked by yeah, completely wrecked by Oetsu. And I assume Hashvald is stronger than them, right? He's got to be. Because, I mean, like I said, he broke Ichigo's Bankai with ease. And yeah, I went through why. I think Hashvald is the strongest Stern Ritter, barring maybe Uryu and most definitely Yuhabak. Um, I don't think Grammy doesn't match up in my opinion. Neither does the these elite guards plus the death dealing Eskin. Though again, like I said last week, Askin's power is unbelievably broken if used on everybody but the wrong people, which are the Squad Zero team because of Tenjiro, thankfully. And so this doesn't look good for Squad Zero, unfortunately, because I feel like with this new revitalization, something's gonna happen and they're gonna lose, and it's gonna disappoint me because I still wanted to see more Squad Zero, and I think if Squad Zero was gonna go down in this arc, that they would go down swinging against Yuha Bach, or maybe Hashvald and Uryu and Bach, but for them to go down to the Elite Guard is not going to really um, be good, in my opinion. I think it just makes light of how powerful Squad Zero is supposed to be, and actually showed themselves to be so far. Um, I want to see this. I want to see them rock some more before Bach inevitably takes them down. But it does sort of make sense. What seems to be happening here is Squad Zero is going to be taken over, and then it's almost time for the war potentials to come together to go against Yuha Bach. And I'll briefly talk about the war potentials because um, something I haven't talked about yet on this podcast, which I think can be determined in a couple of ways. We know three of them are Ichigo, Aizen, and Kenpachi, which leaves two more. Yamamoto was not one of them. So it leaves two. Now, here are, in my opinion, the options. There is Kisuke, there is Yoruichi, there is Kyoraku, there is Ukitake, there is Byakuya, there is Renji. Yeah, not Rukia. Uryu maybe. That right about there. That about sums up who I think are the options for the war potentials. I don't think Rukia is a war potential, but she could be, so I'll add her to like a doubtful but still a potential for a war potential. you know, and and yes, I know that the war potentials are already decided, but what because I got into a stupid argument with somebody a long time ago where they were saying that because I was trying to list the options that I was saying that they're all war potentials. No, I'm saying they're potentials to be war potentials. It so yes, they're we don't know them even if they've been decided. So whatever. Anyway, I think those are basically the options there. Kisuke, we haven't seen his Bankai. We haven't seen Yoruichi's Bankai. We haven't even fucking seen her Zanpakuto. Though it's possible that it's now infused inside of her. I would say that it's actually a decent possibility. Renji and Byakuya have been upgraded very heavily. I even said that Renji was a possibility back in the day before this, and then I got ridiculed for it. But now it's a very, very decent chance that he could be a war potential. Kyoraku and Ukitake, we haven't seen their Bankais. They're supposedly very broken. And, Byakuya was already one of the strongest captains out there. I would say, past Unohana, Kyoraku, Yamamoto, and I would say Ukitake's Bankai, because I think with his Bankai he would be stronger than Byakuya prior to his power up. I would say Byakuya was the strongest after them. So he was strong in Kenpachi, my area, all of them. But now, with his power up, he is most definitely stronger than most of them. I would say he could potentially even be stronger than Ukitake and Shunsui now, and Unohana. It's possible. Anything's really possible. His power up involved him using his Shikai to kick the living shit out of Asnot, who is most likely stronger than the likes of Stark, if we think about it. And if that's the case, it took Kyoraku and Ukitake to really take on Stark with their Shikais. And so I think definitively Byakuya in Shikai form is stronger than Ukitake and Shunsui in Shikai form. Bankai, it depends on the power. Like, for instance, Byakuya was stronger than Ichigo when they fought, but because Ichigo's Bankai like condensed all his reishi into his like that small blade and made him faster, made him fast enough to be able to actually like hurt Byakuya, and so that was like a disadvantage. However, he slowed down very quickly, and that made Byakuya stronger than him for quite some time, considering he didn't even go down. He didn't even go down when he supposedly lost against Ichigo. He still had enough power to use Hado against him, even after his Zanpakuto broke. So, whatever. But that's off track. So, I think the war potentials are going to come soon. Like, the last two are going to be revealed. And we're going to see. I think we're going to start to see continuity here where now we're seeing the two like divisions of stories start to really intersect where uh, Kisuke's little side thing was separate, and then so was the Soul Society and Ichigo, and then Squad Zero, and now they're all kind of intersecting right about now around in Squad Zero's place. But you know, we still have a little bit more to go before it completely intersects into one main plot line, which is um, all of them banding together to beat Yuhabak or otherwise. So that'll be the chapter, I guess. I thought it was kind of subpar-ish. I'm not too keen on the fact that they took out all these Sternritter prior to them actually showing off too much against Soul Society. But whatever. We'll see what happens.